What's good? Que paso? Santi back with Recognizing the Game Part 6. So in this video, I will be continuing my discussion on semen retention, and I'm reiterating points that I made in the previous video that I had done in my series. Semen retention is red pill, and this one will be from number 4 in that series. So, just to continue with this, breaking things down, a lot of men are not masculine, and they're thriving or more so dominated by their feminine nature. Now, the way that femininity expresses itself in men is not necessarily the same way in which a woman expresses it, though you may see certain similarities when it comes to behaviors in nonverbal communication or nonverbal language. However, in this instance, we're talking about a man's relationship with it internally in a way which is not healthy from an emotional level. Many men are settling. They're mediocre. They lack drive and vision and have a very basic understanding and way of life, just in regards to their day-to-day activities and the things that they give their attention to. You see a lot of it on social media, with a lot of guys being overly emotional, and social media is being used as an outlet, but there are many different ways. There are many different things that come into play when dealing with emasculating men and conditioning us to become lesser, from the foods that we eat to the environments that we grow up in. A lot of us, and it seems to be the case mostly with black men, but not limited to just black men, as I've stated before, having absent fathers and the lack of appropriate male leadership. When looking at things and putting them into perspective, life will put us in different positions and scenarios to bring out that masculine energy and assertiveness, that standing your ground. And what's sad about it, for those of us that are really embodying our masculine energy and are agents of change, and those of us that practice semen retention, semen retention requires you to elevate yourself as a man because of the energy that you're dealing with. It's breaking through barriers, and it's making you more aware of your surroundings. It's making you more territorial and more perceptive to your energy and the way that you're inhabiting in the spaces you're in, So as your consciousness grows, you also notice too the weaker males. And it gets to a certain point that you can look at a man and tell that he masturbates just by the way that he carries himself. The energy is very telling. It's very telling. And it's sad because you could be one of those men. So we're coming into this awareness. You don't look down on them. You want to give them, positive energy. You want to uplift them. Some will take heed. Some won't. Some will dismiss it because of their own shadow and can't face or process, the information that you're giving them because they are not spiritually ready for it. So for me, the most important thing, if they're in my presence, I at least take the opportunity to say something and impart truth to them, because there will be other men that can recognize that you are a different breed of man, and they will want to be a part of what you have going on. But at the same time, some of them have not done their inner work, and you'll ultimately be carrying their weight if they don't handle their own responsibilities. That's problematic because that can stifle your own progression. So when you bring the idea to men that a man shouldn't be masturbating because he's wasting his life force, he's draining himself of vital nutrients and minerals that are meant to sustain his well-being and bring forth new life, that sustains his body and maintains his balance as a man. Many will not be receptive to this information because he's conditioned as a man to think that it is natural to release that energy through unnatural means, such as porn and artificial stimulus, that we've been given through, our smartphones and our desktops and laptops. You know what I'm saying? So they don't accept the information, and they don't respect the process that it takes to rid themselves of that habit. So you can see them running from the information. You can see the fear and you can sense the weakness. So to be a man and see another man's weakness is because you are aware of it within your own self. You work through it and you elevate it. When it comes to the quote unquote being woke, when it comes to being woke, you have certain people within this, what is recognized as the New Age spirituality community, who profess peace, love, and light, And it gets to a certain point of time where that's no longer a genuine, authentic phrase. But you have to ascend and descend as a part of the balance. You have a higher self and a lower self, and both are states of consciousness. To be in balance with those is from that heart center, which is what I've spoken on before, because that is where you rest when you're grounded in yourself. Okay, so to be in balance with the higher self and the lower self is from the heart center, which transmutes it and channels the energy between the two. So those of us that put out information and have intellectual conversations, when we go out, people just gravitate towards us. And, you know, I'm speaking for myself because this has been my experience for a long time. They'll be the ones who pose the question, you know, these people that we run into about spirituality and higher consciousness and the more hidden aspects of what's going on in the world. And I've had this back when I was in college, you know, different places that I worked, even just going out and about, you know, and that's the beauty of it all. Because whether or not they accept the truth, it doesn't matter, because when they see you, they see it, they feel it. They don't realize the work that's being put, you know, the work that's being put in to face one's shadow, to face one's darkness, which is where one's power comes from. So as you go through the process, as you go through that process and you work through it, you find that inner strength. You will tolerate less from other men, especially men who don't equate to you. They're not even on the same level of thinking and masculine development. So just as much as we hold other women accountable and uphold them to a certain standard, you do the same with the men around you. Because if we're going to talk about being alpha, which is thrown around, and to develop a red pill mentality, people don't get to the crux of where the red pill concept comes from. You know what I'm saying? And what the mentality really entails when it comes to your soul. You do not allow people to dictate your life. You make the ultimate decisions. You make the decisions because you are the one inhabiting your body. It is your soul that seeks to express its truth and requires you to live in it, whether or not it goes against the grain. If your being goes against the grain, then your being goes against the grain. So we keep that in mind as we practice semen retention and we find ourselves leveling up and elevating, ascending and descending, and coming into our power, you know, through red pill understanding. So red pill understanding, what does it mean? What is it? What it means is to see beyond the societal paradigm, the social construct, seeing beyond the system, seeing beyond what is known as the matrix and these ideas that have been implanted in our mind as they seek to control our subconscious. So porn and masturbation is just one of those mechanisms that they seek to defeat men and women too. You know, the powers that be wage war on us, which is why we wage war on each other. And these people are not necessarily at a distance. They operate in these institutions and in the media. You know what I'm saying? In different levels of society. You know, when people get caught up in the Illuminati and all of these sacred rituals, it's not as far as you make it, as they make it to seem. And we are already in the New World Order, which is what I'll be talking about more. But see, that's what I mean by recognizing the game.